Hello, this is Dr. Kaushik Sengupta. I'm the director of the online MBA program at the Zarb School of Business at Hofstra University. In the next few slides, I'm going to give you some information about this program so that you can determine the fit of the program to your needs and to the expected value that you'd expect to get out of an MBA program. I want to start first with some rankings that have recently come out for us and in general across the nation. The first one is the 2015 US News and World Report ranking, and as you can see, the program that we have has been ranked as a top 50 program. We were ranked number 41 in the nation. This is actually a pretty impressive increase or improvement from the previous year when we were ranked number 62, and then 2 years back when we were ranked number 71. This particular year, the US News and World Report surveyed and over 1,000 online MBA programs, and the current ranking itself included 195 programs out of that 1,000. The more recent and the more impressive ranking that we received was from the Princeton Review study, which is essentially the first year that they've started doing a ranking for the online MBA programs. In this particular survey, we were ranked as a number 15 program in the nation. Compared to the US News, they only ranked the top 25 programs in the country. So again, to be in that group is quite impressive for us, is what we feel. Also, Princeton Review only surveyed, that is AACSB accredited programs, and as you may know, AACSB is the premier accrediting agency for business schools worldwide. So they're kind of, basically the idea behind that particular approach is obviously that they want to survey only such accredited programs to which can maintain the quality and their level of accreditation through the programs that we are offering essentially. And as you can see, the number of programs that have started offering online MBAs have actually increased. It's only used to be about 68 schools offering these programs back in 2008 to close to 93 schools in 2012. We actually started offering our program in 2011. And of course, since we are in 2015, essentially that number is definitely much higher than that 93. But again, please look at the rankings because the rankings essentially validate the value of the program. Both the surveys actually survey both the program side in terms of the educational institutions, their peer institutions, and more importantly the students. So there are some important and pretty exciting comments from the students based on the Princeton Review survey. So as you can see, roughly half of the students identified themselves as career changers. They want to do the MBA because they want to change their career. Also, when they're looking at a specific school, it's interesting to note that the answer choices selected, that the most important factor is the reputation of the school, the second most important factor is the convenience factor, and the third factor is the field of study. The fourth factor is price. So while you should be looking at the price obviously as an important factor, for many students this is actually the fourth most important factor in deciding to choose a particular school. 86% rated technology platform as great, excellent, or above average. A very high percentage, 93%, reported they were very satisfied with their school choice. And a little less than half, but 44%, received a promotion while earning their program. So basically, about 44% of the students reported that they received a promotion during the duration of the program itself. And a very large percentage, 94%, believe that obtaining this degree would have an impact on their career. And about a quarter of the students surveyed basically said they have received salary increases after they have completed the degree. So overall, I think that these are pretty exciting factors to consider as to why you should be doing an MBA, and more specifically an online MBA. Our program, as I say, it started in fall of 2011. This program, the online MBA, that is based on the bedrock of all the programs that we run from the Hofstra campus on Long Island. And I just wanted to mention also that because the on-campus programs was the base from where we started the online MBA program itself, the rankings for the base program is also something that you should be looking at. So our part-time MBA program in the last Bloomberg Business Week rankings were ranked the second best in the tri-state area. It was the fifth best in the Northeast, and it was the 60th best in the country. and the full-time MBA was ranked in the top 100. We are the only New York school, apart from NYU and Columbia, to be ranked so high. By the way, I should mention that the Princeton Review ranking, the top 15 ranking, top 25 ranking as number 15, we are actually the only New York tri-state area school that have been ranked in that particular grouping, that is. Let me give a little bit of overview about the program. So the program is a 20-month accredited program by ASCSB. It's a cohort program, which essentially means you start with a particular cohort in a fall semester. If you stay with the sequence of the courses and the structure that we prescribe to you as part of the cohort plan, you will complete that program in 20 months. So you start in September and you finish in May in the second year, based in the third year, that is. So if you start in fall 2015, you will graduate in May 2017. It's also kind of designed where you have a small class. We're not going to be admitting more than 25 students, and we only admit one cohort at this point of time. So you have the benefit of a very close networking group within the student body, and also with the professors, because you're not sitting in a large online class with more number of students. You do have a flexibility to opt out of the cohort after the first semester. There have been a few students in the program currently and in the past who have opted for this option, that is. So we do have the structure where you come and tell us that the full course load that you're doing as part of the cohort program is too much for me. I want to reduce course load. We will then work with you to form a custom schedule where you can complete the program, obviously in a slightly longer period of time, but it will allow you to take a lesser number of courses in any semester. The maximum time that we allow in this particular option to finish the MBA is 5 years, which is an inordinately long amount of time to finish your master's. So, we give enough flexibility for you to work out the schedule which will, essentially work for you. For us, the online MBA program is an extension of the physical campus-based program. So essentially what that means is that we do have 2 concentrations fully online, but what that also means is that you're going to see the same courses in the core curriculum as the ones that are being taught on campus. The core curriculum is taught by the same full-time faculty members as the ones that are being taught on campus. So you essentially get the same quality and rigor of the courses. You don't miss out on anything because this is online essentially. So concentrations, there are 2 concentrations fully available online, which I'll talk to in a few minutes. There's also a few hybrid options which we will talk about in details. It is a separate admission process for this online MBA compared to all the other programs we have on campus. And in some cases, transfer may be possible between the programs, that is based on the conditions, that is. The other thing I should mention here is that although the program is predominantly online, I mean, you'll be taking all the courses online, we do not distinguish this particular program from the on-campus program. So you essentially get the same MBA degree as the on-campus programs. There is no indication on the transcripts or on the diploma that you're receiving an online diploma, that is. Because again, we believe that as part of the online program, you will be getting the same value, the same rigor of the courses as being on campus. So for us, there is no difference as such in terms of the degree that we are offering. The only difference that we offer here, obviously, is that the courses are all being offered online. But other than that, everything is the same. So that is also something that you should be looking at, because to get a degree, an MBA degree, from a top-ranked school, from a program that is very highly ranked, without any kind of a stigma associated with the fact that it is online, is something that you should be looking at in terms of figuring out where you want to get this education. Let me talk a little bit about the program structure. This is the cohort plan that we kind of referred to before. So if you stay in this plan, again, you're going to finish the program in 20 months. The program structure in the cohort plan is you take 4 courses per semester. Each course runs for 7 weeks. You get 2 courses at a time. So our usual regular semesters run for 15 weeks, which essentially means that you'll be taking the first 2 courses in the first 7 weeks. You get a 1-week break, and then you take the second 2 courses in the second 7 weeks of the semester. There are 2 mandatory residencies. These are usually done over the weekends. One residency which will be an orientation residency, which is essentially 3 weekend days in August before the program starts in September. There's a similar capstone residency at the end of the program before completing the program. There are additional optional residencies on campus, which are usually one day during a Saturday before classes start in a particular semester. But as you can see, these are optional, which means you don't have to come in necessarily as a student to be part of that program for the one day, but you do have to attend the orientation residency and the capstone residency. And again, when I say 3 weekend days, for this year, we're going to start on a Friday and we'll go and do this on the Friday, the Sunday, and the Saturday and the Sunday, so that we can minimize the disruption to the work schedule that most of the students have. There's also an additional global practicum component, which is an international business slash immersion trip, which happens for 10 days in the summer. And I'm going to talk a little bit more in details about both these components. So while this is an online MBA program, what we do have is a situation where you do have to make an appearance face to face, that is, in a few of these components. And the reason for doing this is to kind of give you an additional value in the program. Many of the highly ranked programs actually have similar components like this, and we feel it adds to your value. You get to see the faculty, you get to see the Hofstra campus, for instance, for a couple of these residencies. You obviously get to network with your peer group. So there's a very strong set of reasons as to why we do these residencies, to create the flair of it being an online, but it's not completely online because it adds value by doing these additional residencies. So let me talk a little bit about the orientation residency as to what happens there. So as I said, it's 3 days in August. You get introduced to the program. We do a few sessions where we kind of talk to you about the success factors for a rigorous online program. You get to know what it means to take online courses from a pedagogical perspective, that is. You get to meet the faculty members for the first 4 courses in that first semester that you'll be facing. There's a lot of other services that are available on campus, some of which are also available online. What we end up doing is essentially that anything that is available on campus to a regular MBA student on campus is going to be available to you as an online MBA student. So for example, you get introduced to career services. If any of you need help from the Career Services Center, we kind of expose you to that as part of this 3-day residency program. I should also mention that the career services that we have at Hofstra at the ZARP School is a dedicated career services group for the business school graduate programs only. So you get to take full advantage of that while you're going through the program. There are a few workshops that you do which will essentially help you to understand your peer students a lot better, interaction with industry executives and of course the alums. And as you're starting the program, you need to understand our systems and policies and so on. So there's a lot of material that is covered in those 3 days. It's a pretty packed schedule, which is also why we kind of say that this is a mandatory component. But the biggest benefit that you'll get out of those 3 days is that you get to network with your cohort. And we've had obviously about 4 groups who have gone through the program so far. And essentially all of them have said that when you start the first of these 3 days, you pretty much do not know anybody else in the program that's starting off with you. At the end of the 3 days, you pretty much know everybody else in the program. And so when you go back out online to take the courses, you know who you are dealing with behind the screen. So the networking is very, very important. And that's also why we keep the class sizes small at 25. So that allows us to do the networking to the extent that you need to. All right. So this is actually a pretty good positive reinforcement as to why the residency is a mandatory component and why you must go through it as you start the program. Let me talk a little bit about the courses. So courses are all completely online. As you can figure out that one of the, as we were talking about before, one of the factors that students surveyed on the Princeton Review survey basically mentioned was the convenience factor. You're saving on your commuting time. You can choose your schedule. When I say it's an asynchronous course, it essentially means a significant majority, close to 90-95%. In many courses, it's about 100% almost, where the course is delivered asynchronously. So as a professor, I'm not going to be asking you to come online during a particular time of the day or the day of the week. You can decide when you want to do the material, understanding that in a 7-week course, there will be deadlines every week, and there are frequent deadlines. So essentially what ends up happening is most students can figure out very quickly what their schedule is like. and they orient their course studying, around that schedule basically. So that's what the convenience is all about, on the commuting time, on the flexibility in the schedule. As I mentioned before, the courses are all taught by full-time faculty members, and these courses have the same rigor and content as the on-campus courses. So what do we employ here in terms of the courses? Well, we do end up employing a variety of different methods and mechanisms to deliver the course materials. We use the Blackboard learning management system as a primary learning management system to deliver these courses. But within that, there's a number of features that we use. So a combination of audio and video lectures are used. There's a lot of discussion forums on the courses. Depending on the course and the professor, there will be case discussions, there will be collaborative sessions. Some of us actually do a few live sessions in the course, but as I said, most of the courses are asynchronous. Even if we do live sessions, it's a very small component of the overall course. So I, as a professor, may ask you to come online during a particular evening of the week, maybe for about an hour, hour and a half, depending on what we need to cover. And it is okay if you miss the collaborative session for a particular day of the week because of your schedule or otherwise, because whenever we do live sessions, the sessions are recorded for you. So even if you miss one of the sessions, it will be available to you later on. We use combination of wikis and blogs. In terms of assignments, combination of individual and group papers. There's sometimes some of the courses do presentations online, which could be individual or group based, and then the usual tests and quizzes. So you can see it's a very rich set of things that we end up using. There's a lot of interaction among the students and with the professors in this course, in these courses, that is. You will see there's actually a very high level of interaction, and the learning that you get from the interaction with the rest of the cohort and the professor is what really makes these courses really valuable to you as you're going through it as a student in the program, basically. So as a professor, I'm not giving you a bunch of material to read and come back at the end of the week to give an exam or a quiz or something. We're giving you a lot of interaction in terms of the course components. Let me talk a little bit about the 10-day global practicum. So this is a required component in the program. And as you can see, what we end up doing is we go to a particular destination. The destination is essentially decided based on a discussion with you as the cohort and us as the faculty and administrator for the program. And we usually give the students a couple of different options where they want to go, and then it's decided on a majority vote. So as you can see, this particular slide talks about some details about the first ever cohort in the program. The charter group essentially started in fall 2011, and they visited China in 2012. So we visited the cities of Hong Kong, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and Beijing. And as you can see, we visited major companies like Walmart, Morgan Stanley, Lenovo, and so on. Meetings with senior level executives, including the Morgan Stanley Asia Pacific CFO, marketing manager at Lenovo, and so on. Shenzhen actually has the world's largest Sam's Club with a completely different set of products compared to what you normally see in a Sam's Club in the US, for instance. And so it was a great cultural immersion and an experience to visit those companies, to talk and interact with the executives there, to see what the challenges are in a program like this. And essentially, cultural visits or sites are obviously part of the program, in terms of the immersion, that is. So when we were in China, we visited, the usual sites at the Great Wall, the Tiananmen Square, the Forbidden City, and so on. And that is part of the overall experience. The second group, I'm going to come to this slide in a little bit. The second group visited Japan the following year. And again, we visited a bunch of cities, Tokyo, Yokohama, which are sister cities actually, and Kyoto and Osaka, which were also close to each other. Again, major companies that we visited there. This was also the first year when we had healthcare management students in the program. So we visited a couple of hospital systems in Japan, which was eye-popping in their own ways, because some of the challenges and the issues that they're facing are very different compared to the ones we face here in the US in terms of the health systems. And again, cultural immersion trips to the traditional sites in Old Tokyo, in Kamakura, which is a temple town, and also Kyoto, which is the ancient capital in Japan. So very good set of visits with the cultural component, really makes the trip worthwhile for the 10 days. What we end up doing on the trip also is that we have matched the requirements for the program in terms of what we want the students to get out of this trip to the academic component. So there is an international business course in the program, which is offered the fall semester after the trip. So, in essentially, you come back from the trip and you get about a 3 week break before the next fall semester begins. And it's offered in that particular semester. So the marketing faculty member who is teaching that international business course is going on the trip every year. And this is his comment. As you can see, it's a great learning experience. Cross-cultural business skills are so important today. It's very likely you might get a possible for an assignment where you have to meet and interact with obviously people from elsewhere. So it gives you a perspective which we cannot give otherwise without us doing this trip. So if you go back to the face-to-face components in this program, as you can see, we are asking for a face-to-face commitment from you as a possible online MBA student with us for about 2 residencies for 3 days, most of which are on the weekend, and this 5 day trip, which is essentially a 5 day trip in the destination, but ends up becoming a 10 day trip from one weekend to the following weekend. And if I look at the span of the cohort program being about 20 months, we're basically asking for about 2 weeks from you in terms of the timing. So we believe that's not high enough in terms of the commitment that you have to give for the face-to-face component. But most of the other part of the program is online, basically. Last year, the group visited South Africa, basically Cape Town and Johannesburg. And again, a great set of business visits, with a few high-level executives. Last year was also the first time when we had an interaction session with a comparable group of MBA students and faculty at the University of Johannesburg, which was actually a pretty interesting session. And then cultural immersions in the two cities were interesting. The picture that you see at the right bottom is actually the picture from the Cape of Good Hope, which is the southernmost tip of Africa. So again, you get a great set of visits. You have the cultural immersion, the overall experience. The general feedback has been it was great, when they come back, when the students come back. So again, this is a mandatory component because of the value that it provides to the students. So we're expecting that you would be part of this trip, also going forward. So that's a little bit more details about the practicum and the residencies. Let me come to the concentration. So as I said, there's two major concentrations available to you. The MBA program itself is 48 credits long, out of which 33 credits, or about 12 courses, are what we call core curriculum courses. There's a remaining 15 credits or 5 courses which are part of the major concentration. So the first one is the strategic business management concentration. And the research says also that the online MBA, the typical online MBA student, is someone who is in their mid-career or early mid-career, would be looking more likely at a more general MBA at a more strategic level rather than necessarily a functional MBA. So this particular concentration is designed from that particular perspective, that it's a strategic business management major or a concentration, which does not necessarily give you the functional deep silo experience that you need to get from a functional focused MBA, but it gives you a more broad-based skill, which is probably something that you need at a early to mid to late career level anyway. So we are incorporating the global strategic perspectives of businesses across these 5 courses, and the 5 courses that I've listed here are essentially the 5 strategy oriented courses that we do as part of the concentration. The other concentration that is available fully online is the strategic healthcare management, and this set of courses actually in this particular concentration was designed and developed basically as part of the online MBA when we started this particular concentration in 2012. So these are state-of-the-art courses because they have been recently developed, and as you can see, they touch upon the different areas of healthcare management in terms of information systems, the marketing, the human resource, the finance, and of course the legal and ethics side. So you get to see here multifunctional exposure related to the recent and upcoming developments in the healthcare industry. And some of these courses are best taught by leading practitioners. So about 3 or 4 of these courses are actually led by industry executives who are at senior positions essentially. So that's how the program structure is. So you get the 33 credits, which are the core curriculum, which is the core curriculum, and then you get the 15 credits of these 5 courses, which is part of the major concentration. And as I said, these 2 concentrations are available online. You do have other concentrations available to you on campus. And what we end up doing is, since we don't have the bandwidth to offer every concentration online, what we allow you to do is, if you're interested in one of these other concentrations like marketing, finance, IT, or accounting, then we can allow you to do these concentrations while being in the online program on a hybrid basis. So as you can see, a switch is allowed under permission and advisement, where the 5 electives or the concentrations courses are to be taken on campus. Actually, I say 5, but sometimes we could use one of the online MBA concentration courses in that particular area to be one of the 5. So if you are a marketing, if you want to do a marketing concentration, the strategic business management marketing course would be one of these 5, and then you end up taking basically 4 classes on campus. Our on-campus courses are all during the evenings. They meet once a week. So if you are in the immediate or within driving distance of the Hofstra campus on Long Island, then this is something that would be available to you as an option. And some students have taken this in the past, the hybrid option, that is. Let me come to the admission requirements. There is an online application form, and I have a website link later on, which I'll show you where to go to not to download, but basically to start and submit the application. We need the GMAT or GRE scores. There is a waiver possible for GMAT or GRE based on work experience. Normally, if you've had at least 5 years of experience in a professional setting, we will likely waive the GMAT for you in those cases. So as you can see, the condition for this waiver is that it has to be a progressive experience where you have been employed in a middle management or professional position. And of course, the higher or the more number of years of experience you have, the better it is. It will also be waived if you've had a professional certification or a terminal degree. Like, for example, if you have a JD or an MD or a CPA, then the GMAT gets automatically waived. In order to do the review for this waiver, your eligibility for this waiver, I would like you to email me a copy of your recent resume, which you can send me via email. I have my email at the end of this presentation. You can give the resume to me. We usually come back to you within a couple of days regarding the decision for the waiver. So GMAT or the GRE can be waived with the work experience. We need your resume. We need a personal statement from you as to why this is the particular program that you want to enroll in. We need 2 letters of recommendation. We need all the transcripts. For the review of the application, you could actually scan and upload the transcripts, which would be an unofficial copy of the transcripts. Eventually, you will need to submit official copies of the transcripts. If anybody is an international student, then we will need a TOEFL or an IELTS score. And usually when the application is complete and it's going under review, I have an informal conversation with each applicant to basically discuss, the fit in terms of where you are with respect to the program and the courses, and of course to give you an opportunity to discuss and answer any questions that you may have. So that's your admission requirements. Once the application is complete, we usually take a few days to come back to you with a decision. Not more than a couple of weeks, I would say, and then we go from there. So the costs for the program for the current year, the 2015 admission cycle, the cost totally is $72,800. And as you can see, this includes the tuition. This is a locked-in cost for 2 years. It covers the cost of the course materials. Most of the course materials are offered in the e-format. The cost of the global practicum itself is completely covered for you, and also the domestic residencies except for the travel piece. So the 2015 admission cycle would therefore, like I said, like we show here, it's a complete package for the 2 years. All right, so you get locked into that price when you decide to enroll in the program. There's an initial deposit upon acceptance. Once we make you an admission offer, we expect a decision back to us from you within a 2-week time period. And the reason, again, as you can see, it's a limited enrollment capacity of 25 people for the cohort. So So we'd like to get your commitment into the program as we decide how we're going to fill up the cohort for the fall. So admission deposit is $500. It reserves a spot on the cohort, and that $500 gets adjusted against your first fall tuition bill essentially. I should also mention that the 72,800 is a graduated option in terms of the you basically spread out the cost across the 5 semesters. We have the fall, the spring for the first year. We have a short summer semester where you take 2 courses, and then you have the following fall and the spring. So there's 5 semesters for this particular program, and that cost is spread across the 5 semesters based on the number of credits that you take in a particular semester. All right, so there's also a few other options which are possible in terms of a graduated payment option, which allows you to defray the cost over a slightly longer period of time. And if you're interested in that, please let me know. Just a little bit of an idea about the demographics of the first 4 cohorts. As you can see, we started off in fall 2011 with about 16 students. Average experience for all 4 cohorts combined and across the 4 cohorts separately has been about anywhere from 13 to 15 years. So it's a very mature group of people. And as you can see, the range of experience has been anywhere from 3 to 5 years to upwards of 30 years. Most of the people, a majority of the people, I would say, is from the tri-state area. That's usually the demographic of many online MBA programs, that where the host institution is located, the online MBA students actually tend to come, from in and around the area. But we have students in the program currently and in the past who live and work, let's say in New Jersey or in Connecticut and in Manhattan, who would not be coming to the Long Island campus if it were not for the online program. So although we say tri-state, they're not within really the immediate driving distance of the Hofstra campus. So it's kind of spread out that way. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share with you. I have some sample, rather additional information here. And of course, my email is here. The best way to contact me with any questions would be via the email. So please contact me if you have any questions, particularly if you think you're going to be eligible for the GMAT waiver. You should email me and send me your resume so that I could get back to you with a decision on that. We do have a sample course that I can share with you. It's a demo course of a shell of an actual course. And if you want to kind of view that course, or a part of it, that is, that's all we have in the sample course, please again email me and I should be able to send you that information. And of course, if you have not visited the website yet for the program, please do so. It's available at hofstra.edu/online-MBA. And you will find also the admission materials are available, the application materials are available online under that particular site. So since we are on this particular site, I'm just going to go directly to the program site for a minute and point you to that site so that you know exactly where you need to go. So hofstra.edu/online-MBA takes you to the program site, and there's several tabs here where you'll see various pieces of information about the program. There's a few videos from our faculty and so on. If you go under the admissions tab and click on it, you will see that there is an option. Basically, the slide that I had in terms of the admission requirements is listed here. There's also this apply now button which you can click on, and that will take you to the portal where you can start the application online. Everything in terms of submitting your application form, your 2 letters, your personal statement, if you have to upload the transcripts, all of that can be done online essentially. So please visit this website because it's quite rich in terms of its information and so on. And so please browse through the site so that you can get all the other information that you need. And you can always send me an email if you have any questions. All right. And I look forward to engaging with some of you as you decide to figure out where you want to do your MBA from. But in the end, I should say the online MBA is graduating very quickly, or has graduated very quickly, to a set of programs like you have seen in other schools, where the programs are very prestigious with the rankings, with the selectivity. We have a pretty rigorous program in terms of the quality and the nature of the courses. And I'm hoping that most of you, if not all of you, are looking at such an MBA program to get your degree, but even because eventually you want to get the value out of the degree in terms of the time and the effort and the obviously the dollars that you're going to spend on the program itself. So again, in conclusion, I hope this information was useful to you. And again, please contact me if you have any questions. Thank you.